Friends, in this episode, I want to share with you what happens if you overstay your visa. Stay in America past your authorized stay. You want to stay all the way to the end of the show because it's jam-packed with tips. Friends, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting. I practice immigration law all across America, helping you solve your immigration problem. Now, let's get down to it. Number one, you may have heard that there is something called the 3-year and 10-year unlawful presence bar. So, what this really means is that if you stay past your authorized stay, not necessarily your visa, okay, but I'll explain that a little bit more in a bit. But if you stay past that time period, okay, that's usually a stamp on your passport, and if you stay past that time period, you really have up to like a grace period of 180 days, because anything past that grace period from 180 days until 1 year mark, so let's just call it 364 days, and then you decide to leave America, then that's a 3-year bar. Okay. So the 3 and 10 year bar, they don't get triggered. Okay. It doesn't happen until you actually leave the United States. So for most people, I'd say roughly 99% of people, if I had to put a percentage to it, overstay by more than 365 days. So that means more than 1 year of unlawful presence. And so when a person decides to leave after that, then that triggers a 10-year bar. Okay. So think of the bar as a restriction from being able to come into America, legally speaking, of course. Friends, if you didn't know this already, we do offer free 15-minute preliminary discussion. You can chat with our legal team. It may not actually be me. It could be me. It just depends on our schedule. But we have a robust legal team that can help you. They are ready to answer your questions. And so the best way to do that, you can go to this number, 346-330-5888. Now, we're going to cover it towards the end of the show, like what you can do to cure that 3 and 10 year bar. But I want to go ahead and give some examples, okay, some scenarios on usually situations people get stuck and why they may have overstayed their visa. Sure, there's some people that want to work in America, so that's why, of course, if you ever hear about like people really concerned about coming to America at the airport and potentially customs officer asking them questions like grilling them like, "Oh, I know you're here to work." There's a reason why they do that, because a lot of people overstay their visa and want to be able to work. Okay, so but reality, there's other scenarios that people get stuck and they just don't know what to do. So, for example, we've had people call us and ask about other options and other non-immigrant visas while they're here on a visitor visa. So, for example, maybe they have some funds, some money to invest in a company, start their own company. And not every country is eligible for this, but there's something called E1 and E2 visa, treaty visas. Okay. I like to consider like, you could open a franchise, you can start your own company, you could buy an existing company, but there are requirements to it. So you can change status to an E2 visa or E1 visa if your country of nationality is on that list. Okay, so we'll have that in a separate video about that. But when people are considering that, they usually speak to us very late towards the end of their authorized stay. So by that time, there's not enough time to prepare their case because, for example, you need to have a business plan, and I highly, highly recommend that you do not create your own business plan. Sure, I mean you can open up Pages, you can open up Microsoft Word, and I'm sure there's some templates. But what you need to do is contact us, or what we'll do is we'll offer you some vendors that help with the business plan. We don't do that specifically. We stay in our lane. We focus on certain case types to help you solve your immigration problem. Okay. So what I'm trying to say in this kind of scenario is people who they really either contact us late or contact immigration lawyer late towards the authorized stay, or they contact us much earlier, but they don't make a decision about what type of business they want to do. And by the time they decide what type of business they want to do, they don't have all the information that they really should have ready for us to tell them, sure, with that business plan, with that business model, that's enough investment. Because E1, E2 visa, by the way, there's no strict black and white number. It's not like EB5 where now it's 800,000. So That's just one scenario. Scenario number two is a person who is just turned 18 years old. 18 is a key number because anyone under or less than 18 years old does not accrue unlawful presence. You might not have known that. So, but when a person again turns 18 and they're here originally as a dependent of a H-1B visa holder, of the parent, for example, and the parent has not become a U.S. citizen yet, but they're in the process of it. Unfortunately, just being in the process of going through something called EB or PERM, that doesn't cure your child's who's turning 18 to preserve their status in terms of non-immigrant visa. So that's why you need to act quickly and think about college or university and change status to F1. Okay, you cannot wait until after you turn 18 and then you don't have dependent status anymore. So that's a huge problem out there for a lot of people that the media does not capture. So I know there's been several proposed bills about that to help try to solve that problem. Of course, knowing Congress in America, things are very slow or they do a lot of talking, but there's no action. Okay, and the third scenario that people can get stuck in terms of overstaying their visa, people enter with a K1 fiance visa. Okay, and there's a couple scenarios with people related to K1 fiance visa. Number one is that they did not get married to their sponsor. And it's not necessarily, don't assume that the fiance visa holder doesn't want to get married to the sponsor. Sometimes the other way around. Sometimes the US citizen sponsor is like, that's not what I was really, I don't, it wasn't meshing, the relationship wasn't working out. Okay, for one reason or another. And by the way, when that happens, the consequence of that is that the K1 visa holder, if they did not get married, that person needs to return to their country. That might have been obvious, but I just want to put that out there because we've got a couple questions like this like, okay, well, I didn't get married to that sponsor, my petitioner, but can I get married to someone else? You cannot, unfortunately. But here's a second situation related to K1 visa holders, okay? And that is if you actually did get legally married, but then divorced for whatever reason, but maybe even didn't go through the adjustment of status process, didn't get the green card, but then you get divorced. Yes, you can actually stay. If you do end up staying and overstaying, you can get married again with someone else if you like, of course, with your choosing, but of course, a bona fide marriage, and you can get residency, a green card through that second, a subsequent marriage. Okay. But that's only, again, only if you married your sponsor before your original petitioner. So that's a key difference there. Okay. So now I want to explain exactly how you can cure your 3 and 10 year bar if, let's say, the scenario of someone getting married to a US citizen and that person initially actually has, well, there's a slightly different scenario, but if they enter without a visa and they have or they actually enter with a visa, but then overstay their visa, then they've accrued unlawful presence, right? So in that scenario, if you enter without a visa, you would need to apply for a I-601 waiver. But for those, for example, employment-based cases, and they've accrued more than 180 days of unlawful presence, then yes, you do need to apply for a waiver. It's very important. But here's a catch, friends. You have to have a qualifying relative, that is a spouse or a parent who's a legal permanent resident or a U.S. citizen. So for the I-601 family unity waiver, it does not include children who are U.S. citizen or residents. That's a different type of waiver. Okay, so there's a couple waivers applications, but they cover and waive different things. Okay. By the way, friends, if you haven't caught our video about the secret weapon in the administration right now, it's called prosecutorial discretion. Check out the video right here and see if you qualify for that, especially if you have an active case in immigration court or you have an order of removal or you have an appeal pending with the Board of Immigration Appeals. You might get lucky, but you need to speak with an immigration lawyer as soon as possible. But who knows what could happen if this PD memo could go away, but you really need to speak to a lawyer. And here's the secret code. You need to use this secret code on the bottom left of your screen. Green card guys, you could have guessed it. So you share that with our CARES team, and they'll get you scheduled They'll try their best to see if there's any time available for the week that you call, but it's becoming, of course, more difficult for them to do that, but they'll try their best with the amount of calls that we're getting. And if you have the time, please fill out the form down below on our website, greencardguys.com. Just answer a couple questions, and you all can also self-schedule an appointment on our website. Just click on the Contact Us page, and you can see there step one is answer a few questions, and step two, self-schedule. So that definitely save you some time there if you don't have the, especially if you're checking at night and we're not open. So friends, if you didn't know this, we also have I also have a TikTok channel. Okay. I'm trying to be creative these days, a little lighthearted sometimes, but we're also still providing real value there and tips. Okay. So check me out there, green card guys underscore John, and you'll find me and let me know what you think about it. Okay. In the meantime, friends, we appreciate you. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.